Hey friends, welcome to the joy of reloading. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. If you're a long-time follower, welcome back. Over this series, we're going to be going over the wild adventures of reloading rifle and pistol. So stay tuned, and we're going to be going over all our favorite friends out there. Primers, projectiles, and heck, even multiple powders. And follow us along as we go along our reloading journey through the different experiences of rifle and pistol. Stay tuned. We should have a great show for you. All right. What we're going to go over now is we're going to look at priming. So we have these cases, and they're sized, and the case mouths are prepped, but man, no primer, right? So we need to get the primer in next, and the presses will have an onboard priming system, and we'll take a look at that. And then we'll also take a look at a bench mounted option, and we'll move on to that. And that's what's really nice about this accessory plate, because everything's pre-drilled and we just swap stuff out. So all right, the way this goes is you have this little swing arm that's right here, and that swing arm is what's going to hold your primer. And there's large primers and small primers, and that goes for rifle or pistol. So small rifle is going to work for our 223, which we're working with right now. And the way this works is that your ram is going to have this little slot right here, and the priming arm just floats in there like this and works like that. So the way you go ahead and prime it is, let's grab a primer here, and you would set the primer in the cup like that. You raise it up just slightly so you can put the piece of brass in, and then you set it down, and you're going to meet resistance, and then you're going to push forward, and you can see how it compressed. Lift up slightly, and now you got a primed piece of brass. So this isn't the fastest way to do it, but it is a way to do it. If you're trying to go the minimalist route, this allows you to not have to buy any extra equipment and still get everything done with the priming arm right there. This is how I originally started, and it's a good way to learn, but it's not the most time-effective way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out the press to the bench-mounted priming station, and we're going to take a look at that one, because I think that's a much more effective way. So give me a second. Now we take our bench mounted vise here. Now I'm just going to put 2 screws in. And it doesn't have to be super snug, just that it's holding. And as you can see, I put 1 screw here and 1 screw there, and that's going to be enough just for what we're doing, because we're not applying a large amount of torque right now. So that's all I'm going to do, is just apply the 2 just to make it easy to take on and off. Alright, so the way you work the bench mounted priming system is that it's going to come with what they call pickup tubes. It's going to come with two different ones, a large and a small primer. And you can tell the large versus small just by looking at it. Because we're using a small primer, then we're just going to set aside the large primer and we're just going to use a small one for right now. The next thing that you're going to need to do is you just get one of these little primer trays, and I have 9 pieces of unprimed brass, so I have 9 primers right here. And you can see it's textured slightly, and what that's for is just to kind of grip the sides and flip it to where this is called the anvil side, and that's facing up. Put the lid on it, flip it over, and then you can actually pick up the primers just like so. Kind of hard to do it when it's not on the table, but I'm trying to show it to you. So when it's down on the ground or on the table, it's easier to go ahead and pick them up. Just pick them up this way. All right. And once you've picked up the primers in the tube, which it'll hold 100, but like I said, we're just doing 10 right now. You're going to see that it has a little cotter pin right here, and that's going to keep the primers from falling out. So then once you set it down into this right here, you can pull the cotter pin out, and it will capture the primers right there. Don't lose your cotter pin. And then what's going to happen is you have to put a primer in the priming arm, and it does have a large and a small, so we have the small installed. So what you're going to do is you press down on the handle, it grabs a primer, right? And once you now have the primer in the primer cup, you're going to raise the arm down slightly, or raise it up till it stops. And obviously this doesn't have a primer in it, right? Push it in the shell holder. You're going to press down. There you go. Now you have a primer. And you can see how this is going to be a much faster process. There you go. So that's the advantage to using a bench mounted priming system. It's a lot more time efficient, and it's also just efficient in general to a single stage priming. There's nothing wrong with a single stage priming, but if you're doing a large number of cases, it's really time consuming, and it kind of can bog you down. But if you're just starting out, it's not a bad way to go, using the onboard priming system on the single stage. But once you progress and you have a high volume amount of cases that you need to load. The bench mounted system is a much more time efficient and just all around efficient way to go. And again, don't lose your cotter pin here. So there is the bench mounted priming system. Okay, that is the priming portion of the reloading. I wanted to make it I'm chopping it up into smaller pieces so it makes more sense and doesn't get overwhelming and all into one video. The next video we're going to get into, I'm going to go into the powder selection and systems, okay? The powder dispensers I'm going to show you, there's going to be two types, and one is going to be more of like an entry level and the other one's going to be more of like a upgraded, nicer version. So I want to show you both, and I want to give them the time that they need to kind of explain how to set it up and the system and how to use them. There's also a convenient app that you can use, and I want to showcase that too. But that is it for the priming section. So again, as always, thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, just put them down in the comment section below. And until the next one, we're going to go into the powder system and we're going to continue on. We're going to get back into this reloading. So appreciate your patience, and until then, we'll see you at the range. All right, thanks. Bye.